Travis.
Welcome to the Operation Game Night Podcast, episode 28, the only podcast to successfully pass the Turing test. Joining me, as always, he dreams of electric sheep. He just finished rebaselining, and he's ready to go back on patrol. Jared Erickson.
Gosh. Sorry, Travis, I interrupted your intro. I got too excited to see your face there and jumped the gun.
It's nice to have this intimate one-on-one because we shed the dead weight. Clay's out for now, just this week. If you're missing Clay, he's receiving a major award from his high school.
Yeah,
or his
I think it's like his district.
Yeah,
so it's not just like he's Hall of Fame for Dallas Town High School. Homeboy, I don't think you guys went over it. I left early last week, and I was going to bust his chops some more. I'm pretty proud of this guy. I know he's going to listen to this episode. I just want him to be fully aware that his co-hosts on Operation Game Night are very proud of him. He is an amazing wrestler. He's a great leader. That's why he's getting this distinction and award, and he deserves every second of his fame. I don't know, Travis, did you see any of the videos of him receiving his award?
I did see the clips. Yeah, he looked a little awkward standing out there on the mat.
He's not one to like receive awards. He was like Ricky Bobby. He didn't know what to do with his hands. But homeboy is extremely humble, but he's well deserving of that award. So, I mean, if you haven't said congrats to Clay, please jump onto his Instagram, send him something in the Operation Game Night Instagram channel. But
there you go.
He's a stud. We miss him.
If you're watching this on YouTube, go in the comments and say, Clay, we're proud of you, because
Clay,
he needs all the love. All the love.
Yeah.
He's not one to step into the spotlight, and he'll probably go into this video and edit all of this out. Don't do that, Clay. If you're watching this, don't do that. But yeah, we're super proud of him. He's very deserving of this recognition. So way to go, Clay.
Yes. Yeah.
We do have a great show for you today. We are going to debrief our weeks. Then we are going to have AI give us some board game pitches. So I know AI is a bit of a contentious subject when you talk about board games, both art, writing, design. But in lack of another host to do a board game pitch off, we're going to have AI pitch us some board games, and we'll talk about what we think about that. And then we'll go over the fence and talk about what we've been doing outside of board gaming. So, Jared.
Travis, before we get going, what do you think about asking AI to build us like a little thumbnail for today's battle off, I guess?
Yes, we should do that.
And maybe just like a one and done. Like you don't even get to edit it, anything. Like you just get what you get when you put it in.
We each have like 7 fingers, and we're like posing with a board game or something.
That's actually one of my go-to about me's is I was born with 6 fingers. I don't know if you knew that. Did you know?
No,
that?
I did not.
Okay, just look at the light. Also, if you're on YouTube, you're going to get a little bonus here. Right at the end of my pinkies, those were where my 6 fingers were cut off.
Whoa.
Polydactyl is what they call it. Yep, I'm a weirdo. So.
Wow, that is a fun fact. That's crazy.
So AI maybe AI already knows. Like it's on another level, giving me extra fingers. So.
Or it's jumping ahead into the future with its quantum state and telling us what humans will look like when we sprout the 6th finger.
Oh my gosh, don't get me started. Okay, all right. I'm ready to talk to you about my weekend board gaming.
Let's do it. What'd you get done this week?
Okay, so picture this. It was last night. It's a little chilly here in Alabama. I venture over to my good friend Randy Pence's house. Okay. There's hot pot on the table. I don't know have you had hot pot before?
I have had hot pot before.
I don't know if
I don't know why I just said it like that. Hot pot before. Yes.
I mean, I primed you with talking about Alabama. I thought maybe you're going Ricky Bobby on me or something. But I don't know if that's the technical name for it, but it's very Asian inspired. Like you got boiling pots of broth. So our friend Will, he brought over like these beautiful big like things that he put on the table that are electric heaters, and you have broth just boiling. Just imagine 2 big pots, but the pots are cut in half.
Yeah.
And so each pot has 2 chambers for broth of different flavors. We had a mushroom, we had a bone broth, we had a mild, and then a spicy hot pot.
Nice.
And like 4 pounds of beef, which actually, this is interesting that it is on the AI day. My buddy asked AI how much meat to get, and it was spot on. 4 pounds of meat for a rather large American like myself, plus 7 of his normal sized friends.
Wow.
4 pounds was perfect. ChatGPT spit it out. Hey, it can help you plan your parties and maybe create new board games and expansions. I don't know.
Yeah.
But here's the problem, though, Travis. We ate so much food we couldn't get in any board games.
Oh.
So I did have in my bag, I had Undaunted 22, what is that?
2200?
2200. So
yeah.
that doesn't roll off the tongue as well as
no, it does not.
But I did also have Wavelength in there. Okay. Wavelength, I would love to get that for, me, I'm the party guy. It's an awesome one team versus another team. You're trying to get the teams to guess where this dial is at. Think of like 0 to 100, and it's a hidden, selector. I don't know.
A hidden quantity that you're selecting on that scale. Yeah.
Yeah. So you're trying to give your team one clue that will key them in on where you're at 0 to 100. But each time you do it, you have like a theme. It could be like cold to hot, and you could say McDonald's coffee, and that's way hot, right? Then they get sued for something like that. So that's maybe like 99. What's another good example? Like
I think Clay's example was like tap water or something. And I don't know what the topic was, but that was his clue. I distinctly remember him saying tap water. So
it was probably like
middle of the road or something.
Yeah, it was probably like sterile to like gross or like, infested. And he put tap water. And you're like, well, where are you getting your tap water from? Because when you're in the Rocky Mountains, tap water, beautiful. Down here in Alabama, suspect.
Pennsylvania, even more suspect.
But anyways, I had a failed getting something to the table. But
Operation Game Night failed.
Yeah. We should have spent more time in the planning phase of this operation, but
that's okay. Good.
Hey, I had some good food, but hopefully, Travis, can you redeem us? Can you debrief your week?
I don't have all that much to debrief. I spent some time playing games by myself, and I don't know if you know this, but we celebrated an important holiday this past week.
Really?
Not just Valentine's Day. I guess that was a little over a week ago. Bruce Wayne's birthday. Bruce Wayne,
really,
Playboy billionaire philanthropist, was born on
City.
Yeah, was born on 19 February. I don't know if you know this.
No, I had no idea.
So
are you about to pull it up?
I'm about to pull it up.
This is just another reason why we need our Clayton back. We need Clay on the backstage to help us seamlessly show our. Oh, beautiful.
Batman, the animated series, is one of my favorite TV shows of all time. And they have an episode called Shadow of the Bat. This is a game published in 2021 by IDW Games. And this game is Batman, the animated series, Shadow of the Bat. And it's part of the Adventures Universal Game System. Okay. What that means is you can take any of these Adventures Universal Game System games, components, characters, and mix them all up with one another.
Really?
I have a whole bunch of expansions to this one in particular, the animated series Batman one. But they also have a Ninja Turtles one that has tons of expansions if you're into Ninja Turtles. So you could have like Batman fighting the Ninja Turtles or Joker fighting Master Shredder. Okay. So this is like a dice combat grid movement campaign mission type game where you can mix and match all these different characters and basically create your own adventure. And typically they have a bunch of different modes that you can play, but you basically pick the heroes that you want to play as, you pick the villains that you're going against. It's got little minis. Yeah, it's got nice little like rings around the characters that you're playing as. But basically, you can play 1 versus 4. Like you could have 4 bad guys versus 1 super powerful Batman. You can have 2 villains versus 2 villains. You could have they have a cooperative mode. They have a solo mode. They've got all these different modes, and it's like basically just your playground to jump in and try out these missions, make your own missions, and it's really cool. I mean, I have talked before about the Gotham City Chronicles Batman game, which is very complex and hard to learn. This has a heavy weight or a medium heavy. It's like a 3.5, but it's much simpler to understand. All the characters have their own little play mats that explain exactly what they do. You've got a bunch of dice that you roll that then are your action points that you're spending to move and to fight these bad guys. So here you've got, Catwoman and Batman versus looks like Mr. Freeze and some thugs. So super thematic. All the characters play different. They all have different abilities and unique dice. Yeah, it's really cool. You're basically just trying to stop the bad guys or to, pick up certain items before the bad guys do, or, there's different scenarios that you can play through. So I fiddled around with this a little bit. I would love to play this more with a group that knows how to play this. But it's a pretty cool one, and it was a good way to celebrate Bruce Wayne's birthday. So that is Batman the Animated Series, Shadow of the Bat.
So is this like DC's response to Marvel United, or
no?
What is this?
I am honestly not sure where this spawned from, but this Adventure Unlimited game series or whatever, OGS. I just know it's OGS. What is it? Adventures Universal Game System. They have IDW created this system where you can mix and match all these characters. So I have a couple of the Ninja Turtle ones because I love the Ninja Turtles as well. And I have never mixed and matched them, but they play basically the same. They just have kind of thematic differences between them. Yeah. Here's a good character card for Batman. So he's got like different abilities like combat and movement. He's a detective, so he's got investigative skills. He's got pretty big health bar because he's the hero, character. and then he's got all these dice that have these different symbols on them that allow you to do different things.
Nice.
So yeah, it's kind of unique. It's kind of thematic and cool. So it's a good way to celebrate Bruce Wayne's birthday. Happy birthday, Bruce Wayne!
Happy birthday, Bruce. Man, my favorite character is probably Alfred.
Yes,
is Alfred in this?
He is in this. Yes,
really.
Yeah, and he's got his own unique abilities and stuff. Pretty cool. Okay. Yeah. Then I have 2 more games that I want to shout out. Okay. I have not played either of these yet, but I got sent them for review. So I'm going to bust these out sometime and play them. The first one, it's called Bad Trevor. And Bad Trevor is basically like a bluffing trick-taking game where you are passing these cards around that are either villains, civilians, or heroes. And what you're doing is you are passing these cards around face down as like attacks on the other person. And the goal is to empty your hand as fast as possible. So you're passing these cards around and you're like attacking each other face down. And the only cards that you cannot discard ever, like basically I'm passing 3 cards to my right. Okay. That person draws 1 face down and adds it to their hand that then they can add to their next hand that they're playing to the person to their right. And then around and around you go. It plays 3 to 5, I believe. And so if I have a set of civilians that are matching, I can take that set and play them face down and like discard them as points to thin the herd out a little bit. Okay. The only cards that you cannot discard are, Kamikaze Kevin?
I saw that.
Yeah. Oh, I don't know why it's doing that. Kamikaze Kevin right here, and Bad Trevor. And so Kamikaze Kevin, when you get him on the initial draw, you put him face up in the middle, and then as these cards go around, Bad Trevor is somewhere floating around in these cards that are being passed around. And if you ever believe that you're being handed a set of cards that contains Bad Trevor, you pick up Kamikaze Kevin off the table and you say, like, not today, Bad Trevor, and you get to slam it down. And if you're right, and if you like guess correctly and Bad Trevor's in there, you basically like take all the cards that you have left in your hand, you pass them to another player, and then you like clean your hands and you basically win. You get to step away. So it's kind of this cool like bluffing game and set collection where you're passing these things around. It's very like anime superhero themed. I think this is just kind of a passion project for this guy that made this. I want to make sure I shout him out. Mark Hurdle, and artist is Steve Penfold. Nice. Published by Fist Bump Games Limited. These two guys that just decided to make this project. So you can find him online at Bad Trevor on Instagram. So nice. Give this a shout out. Hit him up on Instagram if you're interested in this. They also have a website, badtrevor.com.
So if you have Bad Trevor in your hand and you pass it to the next person, you know that Trevor's coming your way. Is that a true statement, or? So
you're trying to end the game without Bad Trevor in your hand, and Bad Trevor cannot be discarded with civilians and stuff. So as he goes around, you know he's being passed because nobody wants to hold on to him for that long. Yeah. You know that he's moving around, but
you don't know for sure when he's going to come your way.
Correct. And if you pick him up and he's in your hand, you have to try and get rid of him before somebody runs out of cards. So you're trying to like pass him along like a hot potato, but you're playing these face down. So you might draft one of these cards that is Bad Trevor and you end up with him in your hand. So yeah, it's a pretty like cool bluffing type system. I'm looking forward to getting it played. That's just like that's like the basic rules. Okay. And I will definitely give this a more in-depth review once I get it played. So that is
I'd
Bad
be interested
Trevor.
In talking to Mark here. Who's Trevor and why? And what did he do to hurt you? You know, I'm sure like Bad Trevor, he's probably like just a meanie, maybe someone at work. I don't know. Because this isn't like a cartoon, like from Cartoon Network or something like that.
No, I don't think so. I think they like invented these characters. And I think this is Bad Trevor that we're looking at right now on the cover of the box. That's Bad Trevor, I think. So
dang.
Yeah, it's kind of cool. Then the last thing that I wanted to shout out, pun intended, is I got sent a copy of a print and play game that's a passion project by somebody that loves The Last of Us. Are you familiar with The Last of Us?
Which one is that one? That's a movie? It's
a show on HBO Max or Max now, but they also have 2 video games. And that's where all this started. It's a game by Naughty Dog and Sony. And they created this world where there's like a fungus that is expanding and mutating so that it can take over humans and like attach their brains and basically turn them into zombies. And the show is phenomenal. The games are both great. And there are a couple of officially licensed Last of Us board games out there. This is like a passion project. This guy is like giving this game away for free, I believe. And is
it on BGG?
It's not on BGG. This is just like this guy's passion project. So if you go to Instagram and you look up TLOU_board game, The Last of Us board game, he's got a link tree in there where you can go and you can hit him up and find these files. But he basically made this like bespoke Last of Us game by himself that is a print and play that he's like giving away for free.
Yeah.
And so he's got expansions for it. He's got all these like unique systems. I haven't dug into this. He like sent me this huge ream of printer paper that he like printed this game out for me. Nice. But like he did all the art himself, like super cool, like great thematic on brand art. You know, the Last of Us tends to be a pretty heavy subject. Like humanity is failing and this like zombie horde is taking over the world. But he's got this kind of like cute comic book style art that like really goes along with the theme.
Three-dimensional too.
Yeah. So, well, you basically like cut it out. So
you have a prop?
Yes. I'm going to show you at least the printouts. So he sent me like this freaking ream of paper.
Yeah.
And each of these has like things to cut out. He's got like unique player reference sheets that are amazing. He's got like tuck boxes. This is for one of the expansion called Masks On. So yeah, you like cut it out and he like has tuck boxes made for all these things. And it's like grid movement, resource management. He's got like all the zombies from the game and from the show in there. So It's pretty amazing. This guy put a lot of work into this thing. His name is Walt Carlson.
Oh.
And this is not like a licensed thing by Naughty Dog or anything. It says right there, characters and icons, copyright of Naughty Dog. But you got to appreciate the passion. This guy went out of his way to design a board game for The Last of Us. There are a couple of Last of Us board games out there, but that didn't fit the need for this guy, and he wanted to make this by himself. So really cool. Check him out on Instagram, TLOU_board game on Instagram. So thank you, Walt, for sending this to me. I can't wait to get it played.
That's awesome. I do remember, it sounded familiar. Was it one of your Over the Fences, The Last of Us?
Oh, it's going to be my Over the Fence this week because diving back in hard. So
nice.
Yeah. Awesome. Are we ready to do the mission objective?
Hey, let's roll out.
Okay, so we've done a couple of board game pitches before to you, Jared.
Yeah, I'm kind of this time man.
You're an AI wizard. You're always talking about AI. You're using it for everything. You're using it to plan how much meat you need for your game nights. So we figured instead of pitching each other games, we're going to have AI design some expansions for some of our favorite games. And we're going to talk about what we think of them, if they fit in with the current game and expansions, what we might change about them, the theme of them, that type of stuff. So are you ready?
Oh, I'm ready if you're ready. I think I have I took a little unique perspective to it. So I don't know if you would like me to pitch you first.
Yeah, go for it. Let's do it.
And so my methodology was I wanted to really test and give AI just a one-shot look, which is not how you really should use AI.
Yeah.
I'm learning that AI is transforming how we handle school and processing information, trying to get as much information and details into our little noggins. So sometimes prompting it is a lot better. Hey, do something like this. Now change this. Now work on this. And you can get some awesome products out of AI. There's tons of different tools out there, a lot of them free. I actually don't pay for any paid versions. I just, once I hit the limit, usually 5 to 10 prompts, and it's okay, now you have to use a sad version. And then also it was in the news big time last couple weeks because DeepSeek came in and kind of shook everybody. So I think in the next year or so, we're going to see big movement on AI. And I think a lot of people are just hearing it and maybe downloading an app that they've heard of and just playing with it. And so we're going to see a lot more of this. And so what I had done is I did one question to ChatGPT using their reasoning module. So now they have a bunch of you can kind of essentially prompt the AI, give it prime it a little bit, say, hey, I want you to be using kind of this thought process or idea in your head.
That's cool.
And so I used the reasoning module for ChatGPT, and then Gemini, which is a Google product.
Yeah.
I used Gemini 2.0 Flash, and this is what I said to it. I'm working on a podcast with my friends at Operation Game Night. We want to see what kind of expansions you can come up with for Western Legends. So Travis here, big fan of Western Legends.
Love it.
There's already a few out there. We want something new and interesting and exciting. Give us the basics of the base game and how the proposed expansion changes or adds to those rules. Give it a name and a suggested price.
Wow.
So I wanted to make sure that it told me, okay, what are the basics of Western Legends? So I can kind of test to make sure that the AI knows what game we're talking about.
Okay.
And both Gemini and ChatGPT know exactly what we're talking about. And they know all the expansions. They are very intelligent. And so they gave me two great options. So I was going to start with the ChatGPT version. And so we on Operation Game Night love Western Legends, like dressing up and shooting our whiskey. This one is the High Noon expansion. So at high noon, as at a certain point throughout the gameplay, you have a a kind of side mini game that has its own cards that triggers unpredictable challenges. Okay. So I think already in Western Legends, there's kind of a ongoing kind of goal where individual players, they can put their little presence tokens on. I don't remember what that's called specifically.
Presence tokens.
Not presence token. Like if you do this action, you get to put your little chit on to the card, and then once the card loads
the story, like the story cards.
Yeah. Which I love about Western Legends because it like helps with the getting immersed into the theme and the gameplay. So that maybe it's like get a golden nugget this turn, and so if you do, you get to it influences how you play, and then if you do that, then you get to flip it over and you get some kind of benefit or bonus. So this is something very similar, but in the High Noon's expansion, we have factions and syndicates that you can join. So now it's kind of co-op. Now you have you can make bonds and and maybe backstabbing. I don't know.
Yeah.
So that at High Noon, what's happening at High Noon in the Wild West, everyone goes inside. There's about to be a shootout downtown, So now you're like, I don't know. I've been working with Travis on these goals, trying to rustle these cattle because we're in a faction together. But is he going to backstab me at High Noon? Or are you going to, band together? You're going to have a band of the outlaws, doing something. So ChatGPT didn't specifically like give me, okay, here are the different factions. Like, and that would be kind of cool to see, like, okay, we'll flesh that out a little bit more and tell me what are the benefits of being part of this faction or that faction. So I think that's an interesting addition, because I'm not super familiar with the other expansions. Is that anywhere in any of the Western Legends gameplay that you know?
No, I think the expansions largely rely on systems that already exist. So like instead of buying supplies from the supply store or whatever, you're buying it from like a roaming cart, or you can rob the roaming cart. And then there's like a train that goes around the map and you can like rob the train. And so it's like, it's taking that step or that action or that mechanic that's already in the base game, and it takes it like that little bit further. And plus there's like new characters and new equipment that you can equip to your character and stuff like that. But I think there's no like really distinct, unique mechanic in any of those expansions.
I don't know. I like the idea of like hidden objectives and teaming up with people. I guess kind of in the base game, if you are one of the good guys, like you can kind of team up because you're trying to catch all the baddies and the other players in the room if they're on the outlaw track. Like you're like, okay, we're going to corner them over here and we're going to schwack them.
It kind of reminds me of like Nemesis, like the semi-cooperative, like you're going along, you're like, oh, I don't know why this room is on fire. Well, it's because you lit it on fire because that's your objective or whatever. Like you shoot somebody out the airlock or, whatever it is, you have that like that corporate goal and that personal goal that you keep secret. And then you like, don't know which one people are aiming for. So yeah, that's awesome. I love that.
I do like that a lot. And it did offer 2 other suggestions for this High Noon expansion.
Okay.
A skill track that you can, maybe it's an additional, it didn't go specifically how it's, actually actioned, but like a skill track that you can, maybe another, I would imagine it like another building in the city where you can go to, get better at it. It suggested leadership, trick shots, and bluffing. You can get better at these skills, which maybe help you with your syndicate, or if you're playing cards or trick shots, like in the middle of a battle where you're dueling another person.
That's legit.
Dude, it's like, I love it. I very, very thrilled with what ChatGPT spat out. And then the last thing as part of this expansion, a quick draw mechanism where at any point when you go to someone and you're going to battle them, you usually like, you take a time, you look at your cards. Okay, I'm going to play this one. Yeah. Well, before you actually engage, there's a quick draw function. So everyone kind of has to be on their toes. If they're getting close to you, and you're like, okay, I think they might hit me. You need to be ready to put something down. And it's like, you put it down and you say quick draw. And if they don't put it down within a second, then they don't get to have their, that extra card to kind of quick draw. So you could catch them off guard almost, which would benefit you when you actually go to the duel. Maybe this time they can only put down certain cards, or you get to pull a card out of their hand because they didn't quick draw fast enough. So I thought that, I was like, oh man, that's kind of neat. Keeps the people in the room like a little more on their toes and engaged. So
here's how I would change that. Yeah. You do the quick draw, right? And if you are attacking somebody, you pick up like a die that has certain, pips on it or whatever, symbols.
Ooh, yes.
And you say quick draw, you lay down the card that you're attacking with, and then you roll this die until either they get a card down or you roll a specific symbol, and the symbols on the card either add to your attack, or if they don't get one down before you roll a specific symbol, then like they don't get to respond. That would be cool. That'd be good.
Yeah. I was a huge fan of these ideas that it brought up. I will say the first one shot putting prompt in ChatGPT, it didn't flesh it out like super in depth, and I couldn't really action this, and I'd need to fill in some of the blanks, which I am actually really good with, because I like using AI to begin the creativity, and then I can use my human brain to get it to execution. And so you and I were able to fill in the gaps from what ChatGPT gave me.
Yeah.
But it's still, I think overall it did a really good job. I'm a fan of the Western Legends High Noon Showdown. So
yeah, I love that.
It did suggest a price of $30.
Okay. I think that's pretty much on par for some of their smaller expansions.
Yeah. So I think overall, ChatGPT, you did a decent job. Now, here's what I'm going to do for the podcast. I think I'm going to pitch you the Google AI. It's a little bit quicker and a little bit more streamlined, but then you get to decide which one you're going to choose. So what do you think? You think that's good?
Yeah.
Let me pull up Gemini. So this one, I said the same exact thing to Gemini, and it spat out Western Legends Ghost Town Gold Rush.
Ooh.
It's a little bit more pricey. It's $35 to $45.
Okay.
But this expansion introduced a supernatural element into the Wild Wild West, focusing on a deserted mining town plagued by ghostly activity and the lure of hidden spectral gold. It adds a new game board overlay, new character cards, new item cards, new ghost cards, and a new type of gold that is in the program. So I think overall, Gemini gave me something that was more actionable, that I could just literally read this as this is the rules for this new board game. And I think it's maybe because the AIs are learning how I think and how I'm asking it questions. And I may have like my AI for ChatGPT is like, oh, he wants things quicker, smaller, bite-sized, and I've used ChatGPT more, so it knows me more than Gemini does.
Yeah.
So I think overall, Gemini did a better job of just giving me something I can just literally read through it.
Yeah.
But the Whispering Gulch overlay of the base game, it's going to add that abandoned mind. It's going to add a new saloon that is haunted. So you're going to play ghost poker with ghosts. Okay. It's got a haunted hotel that you can get some rest and recuperation, but also some mini games included in that haunted hotel. Now the spectral gold, I think I'm spelling that or saying that correctly. I'm
spectral.
Spectral. Is that an actual thing? Spectral?
Yes.
Okay.
Like a specter, like a ghost.
Yes. Okay.
Spectral.
I should just turn this over to you because I am struggling here. But in the base game, you can go mining. You roll a die, see if you can get these nuggies, the nuggets, right? Well, now you're going into an abandoned mine, and you're going to go down into this pit, and there's ghosts. There may or may not be ghosts, so you don't know what's going to happen. And maybe this is a very ferocious ghost that you have to attack. And maybe there's a friendly ghost that comes out.
Little Casper action.
And then you have to interact with this ghost or not to get more or less of this gold. Maybe it's normal gold, but maybe it is haunted gold. And this gold would have different abilities, help you get different cards or more money when you take it back into the town. But if you're playing with the ghosts, there's some drawbacks there. So you'll have to handle these ghosts in certain ways. The last thing it talks about is these ghost cards. Whenever you go do any ghostly activities, they could have curses on these ghost cards. Okay. Some of them, maybe it's a good thing. It gives you, maybe you can travel faster. Maybe you can put extra cards down when you're in battles or something like that. But most of them are negative. All right. You're dancing with the devil. Okay. You got the Ouija board out. Things aren't going well for you. But this could also be driven into like the storyline where you get to put down your player token on it. Okay. So I was like, this is also very good. Like I said, it's more detailed. It also goes into other modifications to the story cards, the item cards, additional like ghost hunting items. Like that's
so here's my stance on this. Like one, your High Noon expansion is like the Zig to this one's Zag, right? The High Noon is like very much in line with the expansions that have already come out. Whereas the Spectral Ghost Mine or whatever the heck that one was named from Gemini, that one is like completely off the rails. Like they're going to do something completely new. And I don't mind it. Like it's pretty cool. I think it would shake that game up pretty significantly. It kind of reminds me of, I don't know if you've ever played Red Dead Redemption. It's a video game. And it's basically like cowboy sim to the max. You can ride your horses and you can lasso people and you can, wrangle cattle and you can rob banks and do all this stuff. And the first game had an expansion that came out that was called Undead Nightmare. And they just took the entire map and they're like, what if we just added like old timey Western zombies to it? And so you'll like rob a bank and all of a sudden, as you're on your getaway from this bank robbery, all of a sudden you're getting attacked by a horde of zombies. It's crazy. But this is kind of like that Zag where it's unpredictable and weird, but I don't mind it. I'm kind of here for it.
Yeah. So, I mean, I think it feels off brand, but maybe you're going to hit or scratch an itch that the other versions don't. So maybe you're opening up your customer base here. Yeah, it feels more like steampunky instead of like you're just set in the 1800s and, you're in the Wild Wild West. But I like it. So
I do too. That's cool.
Travis, which one are you going with? Are you going with Western Legends, Ghost Town Gold Rush, or Western Legends High Noon?
I think High Noon. I just love the core game and the expansions that already exist. That it'd be nice to have something in that same vein that shook up the gameplay just a little bit. I mean, maybe as like a standalone version of this, like how Nemesis has like its expandalone games, that Spectral Gold Ghost Mine or whatever. That one might be a good like expandalone to this, that you can lay it on top or you can add components to the base game or you can just keep it completely separate. That's pretty cool.
Maybe go with like totally change it. Don't even call it Western Legends. Just change the whole theme to like Ghostbusters. But there's probably already a Ghostbusters board game.
I'm sure there is. All right. Are you ready for your pitch?
I'm ready. I'm ready.
Okay. So I did not ask multiple GPTs. And in fact, my prompt to Chat GPT was very simple. It just said, take the existing board game and the existing expansions and pitch me a new expansion for X game. Okay. Not the X games, but like X being the variable, the game.
Yes.
So I'll let you choose your own adventure. I got Lost Ruins of Arnak. I've got Feast for Odin, or I have Camel Up.
Whoa.
Which one do you want?
I think I want to go with Feasties, please.
Oh, Feast for Odin. Okay. This is called A Feast for Odin, the Norse Seas.
Really?
The North Seas. The theme, the Vikings set sail for even greater horizons. In the North Seas, players expand their seafaring capabilities, venturing to distant lands, engaging in trade, raiding, and uncovering new opportunities for wealth and glory. Not a whole lot that's different there, okay?
Okay.
This one has a high seas board, not North Sea, a high seas board featuring distant islands, naval trade routes, and legendary raids. Players can send ships to establish settlements, trade goods, or raid fortresses. This one has long ship upgrades and customizations. So you can upgrade your sails and your crews and reinforced hulls to navigate the North Seas.
Oh my gosh, I love it.
This one has naval events that can impact your voyages, like storms, sea monsters, and foreign merchants that you can come across.
Okay.
Ships must navigate the elements, balancing risk and reward. A little bit of push your luck. Okay. I imagine it's kind of like hunting or fishing in where you're like rolling a die to see if it shakes out. This one has exotic trade goods, a naval settlement tile that allows players to establish sea-based colonies for passive income.
Okay. I do like that.
New occupations and strategies, 50 plus new occupation cards. It doesn't really say what, just 50 new ones. Why not? And then new strategic paths to victory, focusing on long-range trade, naval supremacy, or island settlements.
I do like that. So it could be almost like another island or like a shed type thing. That's like, this is 20 points if you can, get your ship on this track or something like that. Or
it's a little bare bones, especially that one. Like, it didn't really know how to expand it. Like,
because like the way I try and give the 30-second elevator speech about Feast for Odin is it's like a puzzle game where you're gathering resources and worker placement to somehow modify those resources that you're going to put on these boards.
Yeah.
And you're trying to build your engine by leaving certain spaces uncovered. I would imagine there's some more player interaction. Like, I would like to see like ship against ship, player to player, something along those lines in the high sea. I could see that being awesome. Like, or you had mentioned like trading. I think trading between players would also be an interesting, awesome expansion for this.
Yeah.
Like maybe you go set up a settlement over here in this location, and the other players need to send their boats to you, and you both get like some kind of standardized like trading option. And maybe that's another worker placement location. I don't know. Like, I think there's a lot to go into this.
What if you like put your workers or your little Vikings on a spot that allows you to establish a new settlement, and you take a square that blocks the negative points at the end of the game, and you put it on another person's island.
Whoa.
And so you are giving them a benefit of taking away some of those negative points. But you like get the resources that they get automatically each round or something like that. Oh, that would be kind of cool.
I do like that. And like, you could maybe even like put it in a location that maybe they weren't really expecting you to put it on, or like, like it's a benefit, but you get to drive that, where it places and how it affects that person. Yeah. So I don't know, maybe that's one of my things about Feast for Odin. The only real player interaction is who can get to the right spot first.
Right.
So once you get there, then you can't place another worker on that location. But other than that, not a whole lot of player interaction. You're kind of playing your own little game. I would like to see more options where I need to go look and see what's on Travis's boards, or like what's he got. He got more sheds than he has islands, or I think we talked about it last week. Like, you can pick your own adventure in Feast for Odin. Sure. It's so fun. But imagine now you're intertwining that with other players and more player interaction. Uwe Rosenberg, right? He's the guy who made Feast for Odin. He might need to get us on his staff. Call us up. Operation Game Night is here with the ideas. I don't know.
I mean, you're basically on like the Feast for Odin circuit at this point. Like he's bound to notice you at some point. So you just keep grinding, then he's bound to notice you and bring you on board.
Is he going to be at Dice Tower West?
I doubt it. I think he's German, but don't quote me on that. Do you want to hear another one? That was pretty quick. Do you want to hear the Lost Ruins of Arnak?
Let me. You can choose whichever one. I'm interested in either one. Which one are you most interested in?
I kind of like the Camel Up one a little bit.
Well, so hit me with the Camel Up one. I don't actually know the real expansion to Camel Up. So because I heard there was an expansion. So this one,
yeah, there is.
That is.
I'm not sure, but this one is called the Sandstorm Sprint.
Ooh, yeah.
Fierce sandstorm has swept across the desert, altering the race course and adding new unpredictable twists. As the camels sprint towards victory, shifting dunes, desert nomads, and mirages make betting even more unpredictable. The start of each round, you roll a sandstorm die to determine if a sandstorm moves across the track. If triggered, the sandstorm tile shifts, forcing camels to move backwards, sideways, or stall for a round. There's Oasis, Nomads, and Mirage tiles. Players can place Nomad tokens at Oases to provide temporary movement boosts. It's basically like the cheers and the heckles or whatever it is. Mirage tiles create optical illusions, tricking camels into taking wrong turns or getting lost for a turn.
Oh, no.
Caravan camels, unexpected interferences. A neutral caravan of camels occasionally crosses the track, blocking movement or pushing racing camels forward.
Ooh.
Players can bet on the caravan's unexpected interactions to create chaos.
Okay.
Desert relics and lucky amulets, a new betting and bonus system. Players can earn lucky amulets by making risky bets or landing on special board spaces. These amulets allow rerolls, extra movement, or even the ability to predict a sandstorm's path.
Oh,
that's pretty cool. I like that.
I do.
And then expanded betting options like the sandstorm bet or the rescue bet allows players to predict which camel will escape the chaos and make a comeback.
Interesting.
That's pretty. So it says there's two expansions. There's a Camel Up Super Cup and a Camel Up Off Season. And this works even without either of those expansions.
Okay. It's
kind of like that.
Cool. Is it add like, because Camel Up, we're going one direction around one circle. Is it adding like multiple branches, you think, or we're still on the same like circular track?
Yeah, I mean, it must add something. If camels can get lost, maybe they maybe it has like a little side, like little U shape where it just like diverts them for like maybe 3 squares or whatever and sends them around, and like that's pretty cool. I think
it's giving me like Candyland vibes.
Yeah,
almost like you land on the gumdrop and now you get chutes and ladders way up here or something like that. I do like that. I like me. I'm a big party guy too. So this is perfect.
It just makes it a little more chaotic. I like it.
Yeah. Just when you thought it wouldn't get any more crazy. Crazy camels come flying out of nowhere.
Yeah, I mean, there's so many like this. This is the one that it expanded on the most. It's got like new mechanics, like asymmetrical abilities, and all sorts of weird stuff. It also came up with a Champion of the Dunes expansion, which has like character roles and asymmetric abilities, like predictive genius that allows you to peek at the next 2 dice before they're rolled. I don't know how that works.
Ooh, you'd have to have maybe a different like dropping mechanism than
or like one of those like dungeon master shields, and you like roll behind and then you get to like put it out there. The Mirage Merchant, the Fortune Teller, Desert Nomad, Trickster Prince, Caravan Master, and Sandstorm Rider. It's got a whole bunch of other like characters that you can play as that have special abilities, but I was pretty impressed. Like it really expanded on that one and came up with some cool systems.
I would be interested in like, what what kind of like player abilities? Because right now the players are just like, you're just using that to designate who's making bets. If each individual player could have their own, side bet or like side abilities or something like that. Like this guy, if the yellow camel is like on top of a stack, it moves the whole stack or something like, just interesting extra player abilities. I think that would also be really cool. Like,
one can place a secret bet. The fortune teller can place a secret bet after the first die of the round is rolled. The desert nomad is an oasis expert, gains extra coins when placing the oasis tile. The trickster prince is a sabotage specialist, can switch two camels' positions once per race, causing unpredictable outcomes. The tactical gambler, the caravan master, can place a side bet on the second place camel, earning double if it wins.
Whoa. Okay.
Yeah.
That is dope. I like that.
That's pretty cool.
Jeez. See, I want to get old Paul Solomon back on here and pick his brain about how much does he use ChatGPT or AI to help him with like some of the games that he was pitching to us or like talking about like are so cool and unique. And I wonder like if they do use like ChatGPT to kind of like fill in some holes or come up if they like hit a dead end and or maybe he's very anti AI. I don't know. Like I'm interested in like how do the actual game producers, designers, how do they feel or at their interest in AI?
Yeah, so I think it depends. I think some people will use AI and they claim it on their box like art by AI or whatever it is.
Oh, really?
We talked with Sam from Mesmerelm, and he said, "Yeah, I'm coming out with this game. I use like half of it is AI art, some of it is hand drawn art, and I've kind of used a mix of the two." I've actually seen people that like do their little passion projects and stuff, and they'll put on it like, I used AI art because it was easier and I liked the way it turned out. And so like, if you're going to use it, at least be upfront. People like Ares Games, they got into a lot of flack because some of the expansions and expand-alones for Terraforming Mars, they used AI art, but didn't like tell anybody. And it was this whole controversy. So I know that there's a lot of controversy in how and when people use AI driven stuff for board games. But as long as you're upfront about it and people don't mind paying you for a game that, it took 30 seconds to generate on a AI prompt,
right.
I guess it's all what the consumer is willing to accept. So,
yeah, I do think too, it's going to affect each and every industry a little bit differently. Even like we were talking about earlier in academics, like at school I'm going to now, they're open to us using AI. They know we're going to use it, so you might as well just accept it. And then how do you put left and right bounds on it to make sure people aren't just mind mushing and pushing in like crap and they're not learning anything from it.
Sure.
And so I think there's a good balance to using it and then, like you said, being upfront with what is being created or used by it, or original thought is going to be, I think, even more powerful moving forward. So yeah, I don't know. It's a wild time. And you even mentioned quantum earlier in the podcast. You said it, and I'm like, even quantum computing. If you dig into that rabbit hole, if like you start layering some of these technologies on top of each other, like we're on the verge of some just incredible stuff happening in our lifetime, I think.
Yeah, shoot. Was it Google just created like a new phase of matter for their new quantum computing chip?
Yeah, it's incredible. Like
it's unreal. I got a crying baby, so give me just a second.
Oh, you're fine. Hey,
all right.
We're big friends of Gwen on the podcast. Okay, so
Clay, cut that. Okay, I have a new game that AI designed specifically for you.
Whoa,
Since you're talking about your leader school and use of AI. This is a game specifically for ACSC students that is designed around some of your favorite board game mechanics, using mechanics from Skull, Spots, Bonanza, For Sale, all of your favorite party games.
Yes.
I hate the name. I hate it. It's called Sky Lords, the Battle for Air Supremacy.
That's incredible. Sky Lords.
Sky Lords. The theme is players take on the roles of Air Force squadron leaders, i.e. commanders, engaging in high-stakes mission, bluffing rival commanders, and strategically managing their resources to dominate the skies. The game blends betting, bluffing, and tactical decision-making in a fast-paced party-style experience. So each round, a mission card is revealed: intercept the enemy, strategic bombing, close air support, electronic warfare, etc. Players secretly bid resources, fuel, pilots, and aircraft to see who will execute the mission. Some missions have hidden risks, encouraging bluffing. Did your opponent really allocate top pilots, or are they bluffing?
So it's a battle between, like, we're in the same wing and we're battling between commanders to see who is the top commander, who's going to get the top strat. Who's gonna?
Yeah. Who's gonna get the number one stratification on their report? Yeah. I mean, this is something I would probably tweak. Maybe it's like different countries, or going at it, or maybe it's World War III and we're all leading different nations.
Yeah.
So then squadron drafting and tactical die. Players build their squadron by drafting aircraft, fighters, bombers, AWACS, drones with unique abilities. Certain missions require specific aircraft combos, so players must balance their squadrons strategically. Dice rolls resolve combat or mission outcomes, modified by aircraft bonuses and pilot skills. I kind of like that. That's pretty cool.
I feel like there's, you might get to it, but there's a gaping hole. Civil engineers. What is the status of your airfield? Right here you got two of the finest civil engineers there ever was. No mention of rapid runway repair, our arresting systems. How are those doing?
So this is not for nothing, but Rachel played a game that like some major made up on his free time in a weekend, and he was doing it with like the DOs within her wing. And Rachel said it was not great, but she gave me the basic mechanics, and like in 30 seconds, I made it a way better worker placement game about like dispersing aircraft and repairing runways and like coordinating. And it's like a cooperative game. Like each player plays a different squadron that's, operating this mission. So you've got like civil engineers and your maintenance and your operations and your security forces or whatever it is. And you're placing workers into these different spots, a la, Dune Imperium, and playing cards that get you different things, and, dispersing aircraft as, airstrikes are coming in. So anyways.
Interesting.
Back to Skylords.
Skylords.
There's a high stakes auction where you're bidding to advance your tech upgrades, like stealth coating, hypersonic missiles, and refueling tankers. I kind of like that. Players must weigh short-term gains versus long-term strategy, as funding is limited, especially with 8% budget cuts.
Yeah. Did you get an email about justifying your existence?
Lots of people did. Tactical planning and backstabbing. Some missions involve alliances and deception, where players must form or betray temporary coalitions. Special cards like divert resources or intel leak allow players to disrupt one another.
Whoa.
You earn air supremacy points for successful missions, strategic deception, and squadron efficiency. The game ends after 6 rounds of escalating missions, and players with the most air supremacy points is declared Skylord.
Skylord.
Wow. Anyways, that one's designed specifically for you. You can introduce it as your thesis for ACSC.
Yes. I might have to add a side mini game of crud inside somewhere.
Yeah.
Maybe that's how you can beef up your pilot skill.
Your
Go to
pilot conditioning,
the officer club, and play crud.
I do want to share one more thing. While this is not going to make for great podcasting, I want to share with you the artwork that I had it designed for my Lost Runes of Arnak expansion.
Yes, show me, please.
This is the only art that I had it designed. But basically, the Lost Runes of Arnak expansion is all underground caves that you're exploring.
Mm-hmm.
Look at that.
That's on brand.
That's amazing?
Really good.
It's like legitimately like ripped from a box art of Lost Runes of Arnak. It's crazy. Yeah. But basically, like you have different explorers with like the expedition leader expansion, and they have different abilities. And then there's like different monsters that can move between caves in this underground board that you're playing on. I thought the artwork was really impressive. That's amazing to me.
Yeah, I'm telling you. I used AI to help me with your guys' Christmas gifts, like to get it moving in the right direction and come up with ideas. So I don't know, AI, it's the way to go. But we kind of glossed over it a little bit, but like lawyers are gonna really be overworked because of AI, I think, because some of this stuff is like, well, you just ripped off I drew that and it was on Google or whatever, like that idea or that mechanism is copyrighted and you used it. Like
intellectual property means nothing anymore. Like it's crazy. Yeah, I guess you would have to, it's the same thing as like people that draw Mickey Mouse and they say like, this is, Dickie Mouse or whatever they call him. Like the likeness and the similarities and stuff is going to be play a heavy role. But anyways, are we ready to go over the fence?
Let's go over the fence.
Tell me what you've been doing outside of board gaming.
So outside of board gaming, this is kind of it's weird because I probably should have done this at the beginning when I debriefed my week. But this whole week I've been wargaming. So I guess it's kind of board gaming, but it's like board gaming with 12 other people have very specific, intentions or anyways, it's tough managing all these expectations and stuff. And it's interesting because everyone has different pieces of the puzzle and we're all trying to, how would we react to this? And it's been an interesting week. I wanted to shout out one of my fellow classmates. We call her Gigi. She's a reservist.
Okay.
We call her Gigi because she's a grandma. She's turning 50 soon. She's awesome, and she made us tacos. So me, you can never play a board game without feeding us. So she made some awesome. I think she called it like "Marry Me Chicken" or something like that. It was insane. Very good, very delicious. Also, she let me drive her Jeep. Because I had a P-test this week, and that thing's got a big old Hemi in it.
Ooh!
And so shout out to Gigi. But
thanks, Gigi. Over the fence, Rachel and I have been revisiting The Last of Us on HBO Max, and I have been replaying through the video game. And I played a bunch of other like board game type video games, like Dwarf Romantic. Have you ever heard of Dwarf Romantic?
No.
You're like building out little European towns with these little tiles, and you can rotate the tiles so that like if one side is forest and different, crops or whatever, and you're like rotating these tiles to match and make these giant, small little villages next to forest, like next to farmland. Yeah, it's pretty cool. It's like the video game adaptation. I've never played the board game, but I imagine that it's way more work to play the board game when the video game can load it up and calculate your score like that,
Yeah.
So I've been playing that, and Civilization 7 just came out.
Yeah.
Yeah. People are into it.
You get it?
I got it. And it is probably the most board game-esque Civilization I've played yet. The other ones are kind of like a board game. This one feels very board game. Like it lays it out in this like hex tile grid, and you're like looking down at it like it's a like it's a board game and you're like using resources to pay for different influence and gold and, buildings and stuff like that. And it feels very board gamey. So yeah, lots of stuff outside of board gaming. And we're getting ready to move here within the next couple months. Man. So crazy.
Exciting. Have you guys jumped on the Severance train yet?
We are all caught up on Severance. We love it.
So Adrian and I watched the first season a while ago, and I think she dropped off like halfway through because she's like, okay, this is kind of weird or dumb.
Yeah.
And then everyone is nonstop talking about Severance. So she's like, okay, I think we can give it another chance. So we started rewatching Severance. We haven't gotten very far, but
yeah.
So I am excited to see what lies ahead because what's all this buzz about?
We just freshly rewatched that not too long ago, and we finished the first season basically like right as the second season was starting.
Nice.
And the first season definitely has like a dip in it where it slows way down. But if you push past that, the last couple episodes are like our hands were like all sweaty and like it was pretty like white knuckle the last little bit, and then basically season 1 ends and you can go straight into season 2 like it's part 2 of season 1. Like it continues on immediately afterwards. So yeah, you're gonna love it. It's great.
I'm looking forward to it. So maybe next week I'll have that'll be my over the fence. Who knows?
Yeah, can't wait. Did we do it?
I think we did it.
Awesome. This has been episode 28 of the Operation Game Night podcast. We may or may not be androids living in an AI world, but
we passed the Turing test. I love that. That was a beautiful little Easter egg. We love you, Clay.
We love you. Congratulations, Clay. And we will see you next week.